Can you all hear me? Well, first and foremost, thank you for coming out on this very, very soggy day to try and make something happen. As Moomin said, my name's Mark. I live near Lewes in East Sussex, and I've been part of the Dirty Water campaign down there. Unlike the last three excellent speakers, I'm not a scientist. I'm certainly not an expert on water. So what I'm going to say is going to come from the heart, and it's going to come from common sense. So from here and from here. So I live in a village called Barkham, and nearby there's a spot called Barkham Mills. It's a renowned beauty spot. It's a nature reserve, and it's one of the sites we chose to launch our Dirty Water campaign. We get visitors from all over, nature lovers, kayakers, paddleboarders, wild swimmers, anglers. It's a special place. But what's being done to this special place? There's a nearby sewage treatment plant owned by Southern Water. Over the last years, they have released raw sewage into this nature reserve hundreds of times. In 2020 alone, they released it a recorded 78 times. My head and my heart say, this is not okay. As a kid, I used to swim in rivers all the time. I don't want my own children swimming at Barkham Mills. That is not okay. As a child, I used to look into rivers and see loads of fish. They were teeming with fish. I don't see that anymore. I'm not a fisherman, but any angler will tell you that stocks have plummeted over the last 20 years. My head and my heart tell me that that is not okay. And of course, we enjoy our rivers, and we should, but they're not just for our entertainment. These are vital ecosystems. So much depends on them. But what are we doing? We're poisoning them, not just with sewage, but with waste from poultry farms, with fertilizer runoff, which causes algal blooms, which leads to a shortage of oxygen, with all kinds of plastics, rubbish, microplastics, more. My head and my heart tell me this cannot be okay. Can it?
No!
Water isn't something that's there to be exploited for profit. It's the stuff of life. But we're poisoning our own well under a system where Southern Water and other companies would rather pay record fines than take the necessary steps because it's cheaper. It protects their profits. It might make business sense. It doesn't make any other sort of sense. None of this is okay. I suspect I don't have to be saying a lot of this stuff. I think we can probably all agree that pumping shit into our water is not a good idea.
No.
Clean water should be a basic human right. That is such a powerful and fundamental idea. And that's why it's been such a great thing to campaign on. That's why it's such a hot topic in the news at the moment. There's so much public anger building, and right across demographics, it's not just surfers and activists anymore. I heard a nice phrase the other day, when the effluent hits the affluent, things start to happen. That's what we're seeing now. And that's why so much political hay is being made of this. And I think things will change, and the Dirty Water campaign will be a part of that. And this shows the power of direct action, and it's great. But it's really important that we remember it can't be viewed in isolation. There's no point in having clean water if we've still got polluted air, if our soil is degraded, if our pollinators are dying off, if our sea levels are rising. It's all part of the same emergency. Action is needed on all these things, and we are being failed on all of them. This, when the solutions exist, we have what's needed, folks, to put all this right. I'd say it's a joke, but jokes are meant to be funny, right? I think you could take pretty much any cause. Could be an environmental cause, could be air, soil, could be animal welfare. It could be something that's not directly linked to the environment. Racial or gender equality. The effects of the climate and ecological emergency are going to fall hardest on people of colour and on women. Migration, as parts of the world become inhabitable, we'll see far greater numbers of migrants. Workers' rights. It's very clear that the cost of living crisis is in no small part due to our dependence on fossil fuels. I think pretty much any cause is linked to the climate and ecological emergency. This is the Uber crisis. It's the meta object. This is the big one. And there's a growing recognition of this, and that's why there's so many people here today, and that's what makes today so exciting. So just to finish up, I'd like to return to my younger days again. There's a pattern emerging here, right? There's a film called The Warriors, which I used to like very much, and some of you might have seen it. There's a character in it called Cyrus, and he does a great speech at the beginning. I'm going to shamelessly steal from it. If you've seen the film, you know he gets shot right after the speech, so please don't do that, guys, no matter how much you hate what I'm saying. Can you count, folks? Because I say the future is ours if we can count. I don't know how many people are going to be here today or over the next days. I know it's going to be a lot, and I'm sure we are going to set a record. And that in itself is a great thing. But let's look at the bigger picture. We've talked for so long about a movement of movements, but it's never really happened. But look at what we have here. I don't know how many organisations have agreed to take part in this. Last count, I heard it was just over 100. 200. Now up to 200. And we've got Greenpeace alongside Friends of the Earth. We've got CND. We've got Black Lives Matter. We've got unions. We've got anti-war protesters. We've got non-profits and businesses. It feels like a miracle, folks. And miracles are the way things ought to be. Will this change the minds of that lot down at Westminster? Probably not today. They are nothing if not stubborn. But if next time we have twice as many, if next time we have 400, 500, 600 organisations, it may feel like that lot have all the power. But we have the power of numbers. So after today, let's all talk to as many people as we can, including people we'd never normally talk to about this sort of stuff. Let's say to them, let's explain how it all fits together. Let's say, whatever your cause, whatever your passion, it is here. If enough of us stand up and say this is not okay, they won't be able to say no anymore. Thanks.